Michael, how's the squad looking ahead of this weekend?
Yeah, obviously Connor went off last week, so he's a doubt for this weekend. Everybody else is fine. No one's coming back into contention, so obviously it was a positive result. So we're going into the game in good spirits.
Seeing that Ryan Jack signed a new one-year deal with the club, just how important a piece of business do you feel that is?
Well, listen, when I came back in, I assessed the squad. Ryan's a big part of our squad behind the scenes. Obviously, he's a national team player, he's a Scottish homegrown player, and with a lot of experience leaving this summer, it was important that I have someone like Ryan in the squad. He's been available over 80% since I've come back in, so there's a lot of questions about that, but without it being the reality of what's actually played out. And I think he performed really well again last weekend. He performed really well for the national team in the last break, and I'm delighted he's staying around for a bit longer.
On that midfield area, how close is a deal for Jose Cifuentes from LAFC?
Not really close, if I'm honest. Obviously, these things pick up speed and in the newspapers and everything. He's obviously a good player, a very, very good player, but his contract runs to December, so you look at the length of that, it's not close. December seems a long, long way away.
I mean, he's been quite active on social media, engaging with Rangers fans. Has that surprised you, given the fact you say it's not close?
Social media, and I haven't seen that, mate.
What has the victory last weekend done to lift the mood in the dressing room, if it was needed at all?
Well, listen, it's a happier place when you win a big game like that. I thought the fans in the stadium enjoyed the game, and the players did. It sort of proves a point a little bit in terms of the mistakes we'd made in the other games and the lack of taking the chances in the other game, because we certainly had more possession in the two games previous, and I thought on the day the players performed really well, played with passion and run hard, and to be fair to Rabi and Fashion Sakala, their pace was a real problem in the game for our opponent, and I thought it was a good performance all round. Every player in our team, I thought, performed well on that day. We don't want to go too overboard, it's just 3 points, and we know what stage of the season it's in, but certainly if you look at the two games before, we were heading in the right direction against Celtic anyway, and it was a matter of being ruthless in the boxes and cutting out some mistakes. And on that day, the things were in our favour, where in maybe the game before they was in Celtic's.
In terms of the 3 games that are left, Michael, obviously you want to finish the season on a high, but do you use some of these games to try and give some of the youngsters an opportunity to show what they can do, and also possibly some of the players who may be leaving a chance to maybe say their farewells?
Yeah, listen, on that last part, after the weekend, we'll come out and formally let everybody know where we're at in terms of the players that are standing leaving. And I've sat in front of you guys for a long time this year, and you've bugged and badgered me to try and give you the answers, but it was important that we get to this point. In terms of the young players, we've lost 2 of the young players in Zach Lovelace and Bailey Rice, have gone away with England and Scotland's under-17s in the Euros, so we've lost them. So there will be 1 or 2 others coming around and getting an opportunity. There's players who have been injured for big parts of the season that need an opportunity as well. And we're going to need everyone. We've probably got 16 players to get us through the 3 games next week, and the 3 games are obviously Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and we want to end the season well. We know that the teams we're playing this week are still all in the hunt for European places, so they're not slowing down, and it's important for us after 2 good home wins against Aberdeen and Celtic that we back that up this weekend.
There's a huge gap, Michael, between Rangers in second and Aberdeen in third, and I know it's just a few points behind that. What does that tell us though about the gulf between the top 2 and the rest of Scottish football? And is there any way at all, I know you're concentrating on Rangers, but would it be healthier for the league if there was more competition?
In a league where you play each other 3 or 4 times, I think it's more difficult for a team to stay close, because you're going to play the top 2 a lot of times. There's a lot of points involved in those games, so if you was only playing everyone twice, then I think that there would be a chance for a team to go on a season on a really good run, but that's not for me to decide. The structure's in place because everybody thinks that's the best thing for Scottish football. So I think at different times this season we've seen strong performances, outwit the top two. You know, at times this year I thought Hearts played really well, and I thought they gained from the experience in Europe. Maybe the season caught them up a little bit in terms of the number of games because of European football. Aberdeen have recently been on a good run, and right now we're going to Hibs that are unbeaten in 4 games. So I do think that in a league where you play each other that amount of times, you know, if you look this weekend, we're going to Hibs for the 3rd time this season. To say I don't think that's right in any league that's supposed to be fair and everyone play each other the same home and away, I've got an opinion on that. And I think that if the league was set up differently, then maybe one of the other teams can push, because there's less games against the 2 top teams.
Would you be in favour of that changing?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. I don't think anything I'm going to say to you today or a headline that's going to be written is going to push that through. But yeah, I think it would, yeah.
Michael, there's been a lot of chat about the incoming players and obviously the players leaving, but did last week give a little bit of heart in terms of that you've got quite a good basis to build off? I'm thinking about guys like James, Connor, Todd, Nico, who all showed up really well, and of course Robbie McCrory.
Listen, when the sun's shining in your face and you get a good result, everything seems better, and there's other times where the wind's in your face and everything's rubbish. That is the life of football, certainly a football manager in this city. I've said that all along. I think there's a core of players that will move forward. I think that's obvious. You don't change your whole squad, if you like. You try to improve your squad in certain areas. Look, last week was a decent performance. It's important we don't get romantic after one. I think people have had a whole season to play and perform and to train and to show their teammates and the fans and me and the rest of the coaching staff whether they should be involved or not. It was a good day last week.
Michael, you mentioned after the win on Saturday about John sort of possibly working himself back into the national setup. Do you think he could be a big player for you going forward now?
Yeah, I think he could. I think, look, we've toyed with the idea of playing 3 at the back because of the way that John's trained, and over a longer period of time he needs to show that he can stay fit and healthy. We're going to add into that area this summer, and the competition, I think, for Connor, John, Ben and young Leon's going to go up. It's going to give us more variety in that area, more, or add to our athleticism, if you like, and our power in that position, which I think is important over a long season. That area of our team this year, certainly at this first part of the season around Champions League, was very damaging to us. You know, if you look, the only one who's consistently stayed fit is the youngest one in Leon King. We've had no Phil Hollander for the whole season. Ben's been in and out. Connor's had the one season in his career where he's had a few knocks and he's been out for a period of time, and obviously John, until recently, has not been fit. So it's an area moving forward where there needs to be more consistency, and I think that will build a strong squad. So these guys are going to have some competition, and hopefully they'll rise to that as well.
In terms of Todd, did you always expect him to make as big an impact as he has early doors?
I think with anyone with Todd's ability in terms of with the ball, if they show the same level of commitment and energy out of possession, then it's hard for fans not to take to them. And I think that's the key message to Todd. I was speaking to some of our B team players recently and asked them what they thought of him, and they always talk about the nice things with the ball. I think where Todd surprised everybody, and he must keep doing that, is in his work ethic for the team, and he's pressing, he's harassing, and he's regaining the ball. And I think it's clear to see that we have a good player, but it's also very early in his time here at Rangers. He needs to underline it next season by pushing on, scoring more goals, assisting more goals, and ultimately here winning trophies. And he's fully aware of that. I've been delighted with him. Our personal relationship is very strong, and it will need to be, obviously, if we're moving together. And he's part of a real positive future here.
Have you had any more further conversations with Malik to see where he's at?
Malik's obviously went back. It was a bit of a nasty injury. This was a 12-week injury that he did. So he's gone back. We did the scans and everything here. He's gone back to Bayern because officially he's their player to have treatment. He was back over at the weekend to obviously get his award, and he's back for our presentation this weekend, probably thinking he's maybe going to get one more. So we'll have the chat. I think Malik said in an interview recently exactly where we are, the same as me. We're due to sit down and have a conversation.
Michael, James was just saying that the recruitment this next season has to be spot on. Do you feel there's a certain pressure on yourself or the board to get it right because you're hoping to bring quite a few in?
Yeah, we're looking at a new right back, just to put him under a bit of pressure. No, I think it's right. Listen, when you're here, the shirt it weighs on you. The expectation weighs on you. Expectation's a good thing, but obviously we want to strengthen in all areas. I think this year, for whatever reason, some of the new signings have been injured for a long part. So if you look at Rabbi and Ridvan and John Suter's performances last week, even Robbie McCrory, they've not always been fit and available for selection on a consistent basis. So I think the most important thing is we have a good pre-season, we recruit well, we come back tactically a little bit stronger for having a long pre-season, and I'm really optimistic about that. You know, I've on a personal level, yes, the games that have been in front of me have been important, but since I come in November, I always knew the summer was going to be a time of excitement and real energy from me and my staff towards a new group of players.
How important was that for you to start that recruitment process before we went into the summer to be ready for next season? Yeah,
obviously we brought in Nico and we brought in Todd. I was delighted with that. We were close to doing one or two other things that are much easier to do now in the summer than then, because the other teams that they may be coming from are fighting for promotion, relegation, whatever. They're in the middle of the season, they're reluctant to sell in that moment. I had some guarantees from the board when I came in November, of course, about my ideas for the future. Glad to say that nothing's changed in Douglas and John changing roles, or Stuart leaving and James coming in. If anything, I feel strengthened in their convictions to support me and ultimately support the club going forward. So yeah, it's going to be a big summer for us. It's everything that I think the fans are expecting as well, in terms of they want to see some new players come in, and certainly Nico and Todd have excited them for the future, and who else could come in.
Okay, guys. Can I ask you about James Tavernier? 400 games this Sunday, if selected. How important is he, not only in over the last 6-7 years or so, but in moving forward with Rangers and what he's brought to the club?
Yeah, when I came in 2018 as one of the assistants, James had inherited the captaincy before we came in, and he kept it, and he certainly was then more of a captain in terms of his performances on the pitch. Around the building, there was other people equally as strong or more strong than him in personality in terms of driving standards. Now 5 years later, and all those appearances and winning and losing, and he must have had probably around 70 games in Europe for Rangers. He's a completely different boy. He's at a different stage of his career and life, and he's a different type of leader now, not just only on the pitch in terms of standards around here. So he's really important, and he's one of the 3 or 4 that will remain this summer that's seen a lot at this club. So therefore their importance goes up yet again.
Michael, just a wee bit different. On Sunday, Rangers women play a massive title decider at Ibrox. 10,000 supporters already bought tickets and coming along. What would you say about that, and what would your message be?
Firstly, that's the championship race you want in the men's game. The women's game is, I've seen it grow and grow. I started out coaching in women's football many years ago. I did a little bit of time with Crystal Palace ladies and Chelsea's ladies when I was working in academy football, so it's something that I've always kept my eye on. I've seen our club grow and grow in terms of the women's game and participation. We obviously won the league under Malik, and we've played in the Champions League. This weekend is vitally important for our team to win, because the least thing that can happen winning is Champions League qualification, which is huge for the women's team and the women's side of our football club. If we win, and we win well, then there's an opportunity to obviously win the league and get in the Champions League. So what an exciting weekend for it, for the women's game in Scotland as well, which is obviously it's growing, and it's an exciting title race for sure. It seems that a few weeks ago it was sewn up, and now all of a sudden we're going into a fantastic last game of the season.